Yeah, I would have to say definitely Trevor Noah. I've been his opening act a few times, and he's done what no comedian in our country has done, which is bringing together an equal representation of all the cultures in South Africa, and there are many. I remember like walking out on stage, opening for him in this beautiful 2,000 seat venue in Joburg. And I opened there for him for a month. And there wasn't more representation of any group. There was an equal amount of Afrikaans white people versus English white people versus Black South Africans versus Indian versus brown. Like it was just across the board. Like and South Africa, when Mandela came out of prison, we were dubbed like the Rainbow Nation. But it's not often that you see the Rainbow Nation in a restaurant. Often in a restaurant, depending on where you are in the country, it's okay, this is like a restaurant where this specific group, they kind of claim this restaurant. And this restaurant, it's not often that you walk into a room, whether it's an office, a wedding, a restaurant, where you see the Rainbow Nation. But with Trevor's shows, it's really like the Rainbow Nation. And he was just able to make fun of everyone equally. It wasn't like he was picking, because, especially in the beginning years, we'd speak a lot about race. But he would find a way to, really, he was very democratic, which is a very big, like, which is what our country is built on, is like equality. um, and even in making fun of people, he treated everyone equal. And I mean, this is a personal opinion, but all comedy is personal opinion. But that sting I spoke about earlier, his jokes never had that sting for me. It was all just like, guys, let's just laugh. We can laugh at ourselves. We can laugh at each other. It's fine. There was never like, it never felt personal.
Mm.
Yeah, and I just think his shows for me always have been like quite a masterclass, and being able to take. I mean, there's a clip. It's on YouTube, which is kind of went viral immediately, um, where Trevor does the O2, and it was the day that Harry and Meghan got married, and he shows that evening, and he opens with, I think, 12 minutes or 20 minutes of material about the wedding that happened that afternoon. And that's the reason it went so viral, because people are like, how did he do that? But that is Trevor's superpower, is that he can take something literally that happened 2 hours ago, and he can just already like formulate it into a joke in his mind and kind of go on stage. And it's the first time he's doing that joke, the first time he's doing that material, but it comes out as a joke that feels like he's been doing it for years. It's so like slick, polished. It's got like a good joke, like twists and turns. You think he's taking you this way, then he takes you that way. It's got ebbs and flows. Um, it's really like, yeah. And I've seen him do that a lot. Like once again that month I was opening for him, like stuff would happen in our news politically, local politics, and he would take something, boom, and turn it into a thing, and you're like, I know you haven't been practicing this joke because it happened today or it happened last night, but how do you have a 20-minute bit about this? And only comedians will understand how long, so it can take a year to build up a good 20-minute set. But he just, yeah. But that is, yeah, like I said, he is, and not even just in South Africa, worldwide, an anomaly when it comes to that.
And working sort of close to him, What did you learn from him in terms of like the amount of effort he needs to put in to make it good, and the amount of like skill and yeah, how he works? What was inspirational from him working up close and personal?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is just skill. A lot of it is talent, which you just look at and you go, he's just really good at this. It's just something he has in him. It's just the way his brain works. Obviously, he's super hardworking as well. He performs a lot. But I think the thing he taught me the most, or that really try and implement into my shows, is how can I make it like the most special for this audience? How can I make them feel the most special? And the way you do that is talking about them as specifically as you can. So that means that when you're in South Africa, not doing just jokes about South Africa, but how can you make it even more specific? Like, how can you make jokes about Joburg that only Joburg people will get? How can you make jokes about Cape Town that only Cape Townians will get? And Durban. So like really zoning in, and then even more, you can go as even more specifically. Like I've done shows where I've tried to implement that. Going, I'm doing a show in there's a fancy security estate in Cape Town called Val de Vie, which is like the rich and the famous live there. So it's like, okay, I'm doing a show in Val de Vie. Can I try and make jokes about Val de Vie? Not just about Cape Town, but like Val de Vie specifically, and the type of people who live in Val de Vie. And I always find if you talk about people as specific as possible, they are blown away because you're an outsider talking about them in an accurate way. It would be like it's almost like someone, a stranger off the street walking into your house and roasting your family, but accurately. And you would go, how does he know? He doesn't know my sister. He doesn't know my brother. He doesn't know my mother. How is he roasting us? Or how is he poking fun at us? But I think that's the skill I learned from Trevor is like really zoning in as specifically as you can.
Okay, that's really interesting. What one thing that, but how do you when you're not zoning in and you're going very in deep in it? I mean, the thing is, how do you know not to offend them as well, if you're not so in depth in that culture? Or in
Well,
that,
yeah, you don't, I guess, but I think it's just what you observe. And I think if what you observe is true, it very rarely will be offensive.
okay.
Um, if you walk into a room and go, "You're all a bunch of rich twats,"
Oh, yeah,
if if they if they aren't really, they're just gonna go, yeah, everyone thinks we are because we live here, but it's not the truth. If you say something that they really go, oh my word, we do that. So for example, in that Volda V show, I had a joke about how no one waves at you if you're running in the road and a car drives past and you kind of like wave, just like an acknowledgement, like hi. No one really waves back. And it's just something I observed because I was running and I literally there was a few times where I waved at a car and like no one waved back. Um, and I think something like that, and stuff like